Hello, hello. So up next we have Dr. Ammar Sammour. He is the Assistant Professor in Management at Birkbeck University in London, England. I'm so excited to have you a part of this, Ammar, and we wanted to discuss just the future of Beirut and how we are viewing our capacity to move forward. So on that note, Ammar, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Ali. Thanks. So if we talk about Lebanon, we need to think they are running the country for 100 years. Today, we celebrate Lebanon being alive for 100 years. So this is very important to be think about, that the country had very heritage root and sustaining from past years, would, which actually we could consider was really tough, but they proceed in a way to be independent and to build for their future.
Mm-hmm.
Till 1975, before the local war started in Lebanon, Lebanon's actually building their identity as a country. It's really known as
Paris of the Middle East. That's what they
and
used to
this
call
and
it.
this lead me to think about a lot of aspects in city branding and in heritage city branding, that always any heritage brand reflect or participate in changing the world. And we can see how Lebanon has been a solid point in several situations, starting from the war with Palestine, occupying Israel to Palestine, how they actually inviting the Palestinian people to be inside Beirut for several times, the
Yeah.
occupation from Syria, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
And it's linked to a place which is we can notice several heritage places in Lebanon,
Mm-hmm.
and several brands that referring to Lebanon, and this is so important.
So I want to ask you, what is a corporate heritage brand?
Okay, the corporate heritage brand, it's containing four aspects, which it must be linked to the time, the past, the present, and the future. To consider the country or the city as a corporate heritage city brand, it must be linked to the time. It must be reflecting and participating in changing the world. It must be
So right now, you would consider the explosion as a part of changing the world.
yeah, could be, and we can reflect it as well. It must be linked to a place, and it as well. This is the most important things. It must have a positive public emotion effect in the consumer. So we notice once the collapses and the port issues in the 4th of August happened, how the whole world were running to build Beirut and survive Beirut. So we are talking about a really a very specific topic. We need to make sure first as an audience that we are dealing with a country that it's really had a very long route. So if we go to the roots of Lebanon, we can discover that the olive tree has been discovered before 3,000 years. And even it's one of the oldest tree even before Spain and Italy. And today, if we need to go to the industry and the market, we can see that the olive oil from Spain getting the top industry export and import product. Why? Because they know how to market this product. While in Lebanon, the olive oil market, we can say it's really weak. So we need to think about our country. We need to think how we can re-survive in this situation. What's happened on the crisis on the 4th of August, it's actually continuous of several crises. And they do not think that the international world, they are looking to this crisis as a big issue in Lebanon. Today, the president of France, the first topic was about the electrical issue in Lebanon, because we are actually
What's the electrical issue?
Yeah, in the 20th centuries, we're still having electrical issues without having a sustainable electrical waves and
Supply.
capacity inside Lebanon. Second
That's
point,
true. That's true.
and the second point, which I need as well to talk, it's the telecom market. I'm coming originally from the telecom market. In Lebanon, we have several providers providing the mobile and the landline service. For the mobile service, we have two operators, which their service is so expensive. The internet connection is really poor. Why Lebanon, comparing to the countries that on the region, it's actually between, even if they can't do an interconnection agreement between Cyprus or let's say Turkey, they could get a very good service and very cheap price.
Right.
And a lot of international telecom operators would invest on delivering the service to Lebanon. But because it's a private companies, they generate money from Lebanon and transfer these monies to their countries, the original capital of these companies, without getting any benefit to the Lebanon government or even to the Lebanese. So why we are losing this type of money to give it to the international market? Why we did not control these companies by asking them to pay a license fees and yearly pays, getting a commission from their sales, monitoring their market and monitoring their service. So by logic, there is a lot of resources is so waste in Lebanon, and this is what
Yeah.
they think. All these issues want to start to be built. Let's say stage by stage, people will start to be fed up. They were gonna go to
Other countries.
etc. etc. And
Yeah.
it's mean the Lebanese market are fed up at this moment, and this is regarding the past. But again, we need to remember the beautiful a picture of our past, because there's a nice root, there's a nice survive that leading the country to sustain at this moment. And
Yeah.
this what we need to keep it, to build our heritage brand or to build our heritage ethos, because Lebanon is actually contributing on the world in very professional way by having a lot of scientific people, a lot of famous people that
Creative.
and the creativity people that all the world talking about them.
Yeah.
Lebanon had a very emotional link to several people in the world. Lebanon as well had its own authenticity, and it's already had
Food, the
heritage
music.
so important,
Yeah.
uh, which you couldn't find it in a lot of countries. So this is
Yes.
why we need to keep our authenticity and our identity
And
in the
our
market.
and our nationality.
Yeah, sure, as well. It's the identity.
Right. Because even I know right now, before the August 4th date that we all will remember forever now, the currency rose 55%. People who were already poor, who were able to buy, meats for their family, now cannot even afford that. Some people who were only able to afford rice are now not able to afford that because the price of food has gone up so much. And that was as a result of COVID, right before the explosion at Beirut happened. And so with the lack of resources now for the people surrounding the country, not just Beirut, on top of the catastrophe of Beirut, how do we rebuild and move forward?
Okay, to move forward, I think the first point we need to explain it is the changing from our side. Everyone, every individual person, he need to think about his attitude regarding the country, about how to change himself. The international bank stopped giving any loans since all the loans has been stopped and the support has been stopped to Lebanon. The currency lost its value, and this made the pricing increased double or triple inside Lebanon.
But what I don't think people understand is by cutting off helping the country of Lebanon, we're not just cutting off Lebanese people, we're also cutting off refugees fleeing from war-torn countries like Syria and Palestine. These are people who are already at risk, who are already in vulnerable situations, fleeing for safety. And now they can't even afford a loaf of bread for their families.
We need to think how to change ourselves from a human people, from our humanity sense, how to contribute to the country, how to love the country, and do not use the resource of the country in a bad way. We need to work hard, hand by hand, to change the whole country from a political point, from governmental process, till even the individual. Today, they start to do a lot of issues in central of Beirut. They burn before a few minutes on her newspaper building, and I need to think. I need everyone to think: is it possible to even burn an independent newspaper building? What's the issue? Even if you are hating the government, these places mustn't be even, it must be protected. So
Right.
again, people need to think about their attitude. You have
Yeah.
to the attitude to survive the country. If you are thinking about yourself, you're going to be similar to any other person that he's only thinking about earning money, and he will not think about his country, and he will lose his identity. Changing your attitude, changing yourself before asking the others to change themselves. Okay. Now I need to talk here about the NGOs. Before a few days after the collapse of Beirut ports, we saw a lot of NGOs entered to survive the country. I think each one it's independent. Each one has her own way. They're getting the funds and they try to, participate. Thanks for their support, but they wasn't working on collaboration, which is so important. On the first 1 week, okay, I would say, okay, some people they would like to have food, but after that, food is not so necessarily. They need to start building.
But there's no jobs. But there's no jobs
Yeah, but
available.
Ali, there is something more important. We are entering to the autumn and now to the winter terms, so we need to start thinking about the houses that has been already damaged. So we need to build their flats. We need to cover the flats with a window and with the doors to make their life protected to survive them, because this is most important than serve them with rice or bread or whatever, because they could get this thing. So I can see Lebanon a good stage if we work together to build Beirut and to build Lebanon as one union.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ammar. I appreciate your insights. Um, I wanted to ask you, when you were saying you believe that the army should help rebuild using their services or whatever it is that they have to provide for the country, I know there are many different sanctions in the military. If someone in the military is working in Beirut, they're specifically working for the Beiruti military and the Beiruti government. But you can find different sanctions in the north and the south that aren't necessarily going to respond to a crisis in Beirut. So when you refer to the army, I just wanted to know, what was your idea of the Lebanese army, and if that's a reflection of what it is today?
Army at this moment try to control the crisis. They went to the Jumaizeh or Ashrafiyeh from the first moment. They are working with, I believe, they are working at this moment with the Engineer Association in Beirut and the Beirut municipality to restructure and recover Beirut from this crisis. So I think as a governmental institution, the army are really responsible to control all these kind of NGOs to be specifically sent to a certain places, or and even to cover the whole places that has been get damaged, because each NGOs, they might. There is a lot of cases that
But
on
what
the
does
same
that mean though?
day,
Because when
several
I
NGOs entered. You
So do
know,
you so would an army be also considered construction workers? You teach them how to rebuild buildings, or are they going to
they
drive
already
around
started.
and
The army now they are doing a lot of good job with the French army and Beirut ports. Okay, and you can see it. So the army job did not stop till this moment, and that's why I think all these NGOs they need to cooperate with the army.
Lebanese
So it's
army.
so important to recover from this situation in a short period and return back to the normal within the next 3 months. Thanks a lot, Ali, for this interview. Keep a smile. This is my message to everyone. Keep your hope that God will bless Lebanon and will keep it safe. And all the support from our side to everyone who lost any person or even who lose his house or get damaged in this situation, or our support to Lebanon and our friends and relative in Beirut. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you.
Ammar.